We're live. It is Monday. It is Monday. The Rich Lieberman Bay Area Media Pulse is now live on YouTube. If you're watching, welcome to the show. If you're watching live, great. If you're not watching live, but at another time, also welcome aboard. Um, I was able to see the Bill Maher, and lately he annoys me. I used to watch the show more often because he had good writers and all. By the way, most of the stuff that he says that's funny, folks, is courtesy of very good writers. Even if you don't agree with some of his politics, he's got good writers. He doesn't really do. Uh, let me rephrase that. His his monologue and the bit with the panel and all that, and it's a good show. But Marr himself is very unlikable, very annoying. Has that he's kind of like an asshole. He acts like an asshole. But I saw the Friday after the election show, and he basically called out the Democrats, called them a bunch of schmucks and pigs and idiots and all that. And I very much agreed with him. I said around here that I felt like I was at a wake given the reaction in these parts as for, Trump's election, which if you look now and able to take a deep breath and realize that it wasn't that surprising. But what I am still shocked about is how it very much erased this whole media conglomerate that basically has all these sort of progressive ideas. Now, look, I want to make something very clear, and I'm not saying this to brag. Quite the contrary. I voted for Harris reluctantly. I said she was a very flawed candidate and all that. Still believe all that. And if you look back now, my God, look at the entire situation. But the media end of it with her entourage, like the Washington Post, the New York Times, all the networks, all the cablers, with the exception of Fox News and obviously News Nation, that kind of thing, all very much enthralled with her, behind her, everything, commentators, money, media, everything. Yet he absolutely, well, it was a landslide, and I wanted to touch on it here locally. Now, um, I've often said I regard this area, especially nowadays, as posers. The very, very little media that we have left in this area is unbelievable. Television news is one thing. No radio. No radio. And I discussed the whole thing, what's going on down in LA. At least they still have some semblance of legit radio left. KNX, KFI, even with this ouster of Robin Bertolucci and all that. But they have news stations down there. They have talk still. They have, relatively speaking, a decent amount of music stations on FM, and they have legit sports talk. Up here, we have dreck. We have crap. We might as well say that we don't have any radio whatsoever. Our TV news stations are particularly sad. Um, Look, KGO TV, Disney, it's a bunch of robots. Can you even watch it now? Not that it was great to watch before, but at least they had personality and people that you'd look at the screen and you'd give yourself a time investment and care about what was on your screen. And now it's all robots. They're like Remember the invasion of the body snatchers? And the people became sort of just walking around, no emotion whatsoever. And that's what I regard watching Channel 7 is like these days. These are people without any kind of personality. There's a few that are okay. I can't watch some of the people that they put on these days. They just don't have any kind of passion whatsoever. They don't have any emotion. They read the teleprompter. They're robots, like I said. Cron. What has happened to Cron? They were trying to become something other than the old style Cron. Talk about posers, Cron. Channel 2 is in a complete and utter cratering. I don't know how worse they can get, but they get worse. They'll not surprise me, and they'll do stupid shit like coming up with these dumb programs like Believe It or Not. It's sort of more of a foxification of that abysmal crap that we have. So Channel 2, and by the way, the Betty U hiring was a colossal failure because she's has not given them the fix, the identity that they were searching for. They figured they would hire somebody with a big name and give her decent amount of coin. That hasn't materialized. All it's done, it's put more emphasis on frauds, failures like Mike Beback and people like that. This Andre Senior, who's a total yawner. So Channel 2, Fox, free fall. NBC Bay Area, I don't know. It looks like Raj Mathai and Love Bug, Janelle Lang. That's about it. Jessica Kagiri, any day now, she's going to be saying bye-bye. She'll either retire or they're going to tell her to take a heave-ho because NBC itself is, per the corporate mantra these days, let's lay off more people so we can satisfy our own bottom line, and make our operations that much more, shall we say, lean and mean. But they're not very enterprising. They're kind of boring. There's a few people, as I said. At least they're not robotic. But Mathai looks like I don't know what's going on there. I'm calling in and trying to see whether or not he's being further egged on by the network, which not that long ago still would like to have had him come to New York and do some fill-in, perhaps start what CBS is trying with their 24/7 and put Raj on the map. So far, he's still here. What else? Who am I leaving out? Oh, KPIX. So I've said this many a times. I give them credit because at least they are trying to, it's a little bit more, shall we say, gimmicky, as I've often used that phrase, than I thought, but they are trying to adapt to the new business model these days. And, it's a little bit lately too visual for my taste, but combine that with 24/7, the CBS brand has changed. They're more into these visual effects, which for the most part I enjoy. I didn't think I would, but I watch. And that in and of itself gives me hope. And some of the people there are worth watching. One of these days, I'm going to talk more specifically about the fact that CBS really did want Scott Warren, the general manager, to come back to New York in whatever capacity, but they viewed him, still do, as a dynamic, up and coming presence. I also intimated about the fact that Juliet Goodrich was very much, I don't know if she was actually really legit considered for whatever they're going to do long term when they replace Nora O'Donnell. They're putting on this temporary kind of programming as far as the news is concerned. But down the road, CBS needs a new dominant anchor. And they're looking for somebody other than Nora O'Donnell. By the way, I watched Nora O'Donnell and talk about just no luster whatsoever, no pizzazz, no functioning personality to where you can say, and I'm not talking about getting up and screaming and yelling and acting like you know what. I'm talking about having a basic, sort of I'll use the word passion again, showing some degree of emotion. She doesn't have that. She got by on whatever she got by, and colossal failure, third in the ratings. And I can't stand David Muir at ABC. Whatever he keeps going on, and Lester Holt. God, you talk about a colossal yawn fest with Lester Holt. But who watches network news these days? They're like, you could put Bozo the Clown on. Bozo the Clown might be something to which people would watch. I'm being sarcastic, but you get what I'm saying. Is there is no presence on network news. They have all these people that have no emotion, that have no passion, you know, and for whatever reason, it's all it's all benign posers like the Bay Area. CBS, they're trying this 24/7. Everything is headed up streaming mode. Anyway, um, I and those of you out there who watch me now, can you point out any relative highlight, any medium in our area worth noting? We have no news state on radio. And I brought up the Robin Bertolucci deal in LA because it's going to have repercussions here. And I already know, and I've been making calls and texts, and I've been putting out feelers as to what is going to happen to the very little radio that we have left here. And look, I don't glee, I don't take glee for a radio station that's still around, about to get its comeuppance. KNBR and Cumulus already is put into, I'll get into this more specifically, but they've already kind of put together with internals and meeting with their own whatever execs they have left, the business model that will eventually befall KNBR. It won't affect the Giants. It won't affect the 49ers. They'll still have their broadcast. But the talk show hosts, whatever that is, whomever that is, they're all going to be gone. Basically, KNBR is going to be like 95-7 the game. That's talk about an absolute misstatement on that. Let's redact that. It's going to be like KGO, the game. It's going to be a warehouse like broadcast with no equipment on the shelves. Everything will be syndicated. Everything will be out of market. There won't be any local hosts. Some would say sarcastically, there aren't any local hosts now. There are no hosts. They have a bunch of posers, real pathetic, talent impaired posers who don't have any idea of what ingenuity is like, creativity. They're all just very bad. They're basically fanboys, okay? And yet, and they're falling faster. The ratings, go look at the ratings. KNBR, the only thing that is making it these days on radio is news talk and sports talk radio. And we have neither in the Bay Area. We have posers. We have folks that think they're something and they're nothing. They're complete zero, you know? It's like no identity, no, shall we say, realness, no talent, a bunch of posers. And it goes from all over the radio end, the TV news end, our so-called newspaper. We only have two papers left, and they're both crappy. We have the Chronicle, which is non-existent, more interested in pursuing burritos and nachos and the latest great restaurant news. What the hell is that? And of course, the assorted leprechauns called the Bay Area News Group, more commonly referred to as Bang, where you don't get anything. Basically, we don't have any newspapers left. This is a real sad situation. But then again, I look at the layout of the land, and as it is cliche, it is what it is. Chronicle. Oh my God. Yeah, let's talk about the greatest burritos again for the umpteenth time. Unbelievable. And I was lamenting the fact about KCBS continuing to listen to them and how bad they've become. It's really sad. And they're now using traffic people as sports people. They basically have no sports left, which isn't such a bad thing because nobody listens to that station to get sports. They have so many ads now. Look, I understand. I worked in radio. Somebody gave me some, offhand line about paying the bills and radio isn't free. Of course it isn't free. Understood. But when you overload and when you put 8 gazillion ads more than your own content, not only is that embarrassing, it's indicative of what KCBS in its bankrupt Odyssey parent thinks like these days. Posers. And people tune out. They don't want to hear 50 million ads. They're now putting this Shane Guinness on with another incompetent, but at least she's presentable. Holly Kwan, the midday, Shane Guinness. That's what you have. Then we have one sports guy in the morning who talks like Stephen Langford. I'm going to talk like this because my voice makes me want to sound like Elmer Fudd. Then we have that galactic morning yawner, Eric Thomas and Margie Schaefer, combined with the other yawner in the PM drive, Brett Burkhart and Patty Rising. The weekend is a complete mishmash. The reporters, oh my God. Do you listen to this crap? I have it on as a guilty pleasure. Posers. My God. What has become of our radio situation here in the Bay Area? Oh my God. So I'll get into specifics in a future broadcast of what KMBR is going to sound like. What Cumulus already, they of course own KMBR and a few other assorted bread cake stations here. What it's going to sound like and when it's going to happen, it could be any moment now, but a future broadcast. I'm Rich Lieberman. That's been your Monday Media Pulse. It's a little cold outside. I've got my coat on, got my Yul Brynner look. Don't smoke. I am Yul Brynner. I got that going. And it's a Monday. We're getting near the holidays. Why? Have you seen the ads on television? The new Christmas ads are already out because, can't get enough of the early holiday ads, which have bombarded us already. And it's already what? Today's the 15th? No, it's the 11th. We got Christmas. Because Thanksgiving this year is on the 28th. So I guess they want to start bombarding us early because, we don't have enough Christmas ads. Forget it, folks. I'm not bah humbug. I love Christmas just as much as you. But already these ads, they just keep coming us. It just doesn't stop. And we haven't even begun yet in reality. We've begun, but it's not as irksome as it's going to be and so forth. Tell your friends, your lawyers, your dentists, your doctor, your priest, your rabbi about me. And boy, you have a lot to talk about, huh? Become a member, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and if you can, please make a donation so I can give you the opinions, the takes, the information, the hopefully entertaining aspect of one Rich Lieberman who talks about media and keeps you informed on the various goings on, sometimes opinionated, sometimes worthy of your reflections, etc., etc. If you want to email me, rich.lieberman@gmail.com, any kind of feedback, any tips. By the way, if you give me a good tip, and you work in the local media, I get a lot of your information. I promise you, if you want to be anonymous, if it's something kind of juicy and perhaps, shall we say, risky, don't worry, I'm not going to name you. I will not ever name any kind of contact sources. But please let me know what's going on at your station and do send me some feedback. Okay, make a contribution. Go up into my PayPal and do become a subscriber here on YouTube. It's Monday. It was raining. Now the sun's out. The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom. Okay, see, I'm trying to be a wise ass, but anyway, it's cold. Drink your coffee, drink your tea. Have a great day.